Lower the longboat, Mr. Baines.
Lower the longboat.
Reminds me of the firehouse in one of Albert's steamships. I've often thought, fancy a sailor sweating all day down below without even sight of the sea, shoveling coal into a furnace.
Fancy a sailor, fancy me.
Yes, it's wicked. My brother a ship owner and his wife living in a basement.
Every penny James earns is for buying more shares in the company.
Let me help you.
Oh, you'll sully your frock.
Look, you'll do yourself an injury. You can't even lift
Oh,
that.
indeed I can.
Anne, are you not well?
Up she goes. Grab on. Up it goes. Won't be worth much without the cargo.
Cargo's worth nothing at all. More salt than sugar in those bags now.
Caught in a right squall by the look of her. Didn't even have time to reef the sails.
The gumption to try.
No one abandons ship unless they have to, sir.
Come on, put your backs into it, heave! Got a cargo of our own to get home.
Won't stand the keeping too long, neither.
Extra day at sea won't harm even our cargo of pineapples. Should be some good salvage money in this, eh?
It's that smoky old range in there. Oh, James will have something to answer for when he gets back.
It's just a queasiness that passes soon enough. How's young William?
Wanting his dinner, I should think. I must go. The maid has no way with the child at all. You know, James could afford a maid to help you.
Servants? You'll be wishing a carriage on us next.
Well, at least he could afford a decent house. There's a very passable property, you know, in Trinity Road.
It'll all come soon enough once James has control of the Onedin line again.
And when will that be? It's like Albert's steamship. Men, heads in the clouds.
So long as we've got our feet on the ground, there's no harm in that.
Well, at least mine aren't stuck in a basement.
Look, go and give young William his dinner.
You'll be all right?
I am all right. It's just a touch of sickness that comes over me at times.
Sickness?
Well, haven't you ever? Oh, no. No, it couldn't be that.
This is coming up nicely, Mr. Baines. Right. Shift the rest over to starboard.
That's it. All right, now, come on, shift the rest of it over to starboard.
I take it there's a set of spare sails aboard.
I've never known a ship put to sea so ill-equipped as this one, sir.
Well, we'll use what we can from our own sail locker. We'll take her in tow.
Oh, Elizabeth, could it really be?
Well, you've waited long enough.
James would be so pleased.
Well, as long as he shows he is. But this is no place to have a baby. He'll have to put his hand in his pocket for you now, Anne.
Oh. Yeah, will he really be pleased?
Of course he will. An heir to the Onedin line.
At this rate, we'll not make Liverpool by the end of the month, sir.
You'd like us to cut it. Wouldn't you, Mr. Baines?
The crew didn't think her worth saving, sir.
I think she's a fine ship. And in my opinion, a fast one. Salvage awards should be worth a tidy sum.
I can't agree, sir. It's not worth the risk we're taking on our cargo of pineapple. It could be rotting below within the week.
Ireland?
Delayed. Ross Carberry sailing tomorrow.
James was ever a man of few words.
Especially when words cost money.
To put him to Ireland?
Well, it must have been serious for James to delay and risk his pineapple cargo.
The ship must have been very badly battered.
Well, it's seaworthy now, or he'd not be sailing tomorrow.
Yes, but in what condition? The Charlotte Rose is not the ship that she was, and the Irish Sea can be fearsome. Oh, I can't bear it when they sail without me. The worst they can endure at sea is nothing beside the fancies that haunt me at home.
Anne?
I was expecting him home today.
Whatever's the matter with you, Anne?
I'm sorry, Robert, I just keep bursting into tears for no reason at all.
You're surprised? You've happened to me often enough.
What happened?
Thank you for bringing the telegram, Robert. I'm sure you've business to attend to.
Listen, what are you doing here?
I'm just calling.
In an apron?
I'm giving Anne a hand in the kitchen.
You giving someone a hand? I've never known you put yourself out for anybody.
Give my love to Sarah.
Listen, if there's anything wrong with her in there, we ought to get a doctor.
We don't need a doctor yet.
Yet? You mean... she's... Anne! Anne! No! Anne! Why ever didn't you tell me?
Well, I wanted James to be the first to know, Robert.
But I think it's wonderful news after all this time. You just wait till I tell Sarah.
Oh, Robert, no.
Oh, don't worry. She won't breathe a word to anyone, I promise you.
It'll be all over Liverpool by nightfall.
Does it really matter?
Not if James were here.
You'll have to get used to being on your own from now on, you know. There'll be no more voyages with James when the baby's born.
Why, ever not?
Babies just give them an excuse.
For what?
To go off, fancy-free.
Oh, just because Albert's away.
Well, as long as James gets you out of this place, that's something. But you'll have to insist.
I think not. James himself will insist.
James, a father! What do you say about that, then? I was beginning to wonder.
Wonder what?
Oh, you know our James. All that energy and not even a child to show for it. I mean, the rest of us have managed it, haven't we?
Robert, really?
It'll be the making of James, you mark my words, having a family. There's nothing like fatherhood to give a man a proper sense of responsibility. You don't seem best pleased with the news.
Should I be? Another James Onedin on the way.
Put like that, it is a sobering thought.
And a worrying one.
Worrying? I don't know what you mean.
Oh, you never can see beyond the end of your own nose, can you? If James has a son, the Onedin line will go to him, and not to our little Samuel.
Well, I do have 1,500 shares of my own in the company.
Well, you'll need a sight more than that if there's to be anything worth having for our little Samuel. Robert, you must buy more Onedin line shares.
Get these hatch covers off. Read for discharge.
Mr. Baines?
James.
Where are them darkies? We've got a cargo aboard that won't stay a moment longer.
Mr. Baines, what kept you?
We took a derelict in tow. Cost us a week old toll. Captain Onedin thought it was worth it. I can't understand it. Normally I value his judgment. Get on with it there.
Well, this derelict, what's her name?
It was a Dago schooner, the Maria de Gloria.
A Portuguese or Brazilian, anyway. We put what sail we could on her and took her in tow. But the wind changed to the east, so we could make no headway. So we dropped her off at Carberry.
A good prize, is she?
Well, Baines doesn't think so, but he's wrong. That schooner's worth a lot to her owner, so the salvage award should be a good one, eh?
James.
And the money will go towards buying more shares in the steamship company.
Yes, James.
Bring us that much nearer to getting control of the Onedin line again, eh?
James.
Of course, I do regret the delay.
I'm having a baby.
Rotted. Then, on the other hand... What did you say?
I'm with child.
Why didn't you say so?
I've been trying to, but you didn't give me room to get a word in edgeways.
You sure?
I wasn't at first. I couldn't believe it. But I'm sure now. James, is it good news?
Good news? That's wonderful news. Most wonderful news I've ever heard in all my life.
What's that, then?
Here, Robert. I'm going to be a father.
Oh, yes, that. Anne told me. It is certainly most wonderful news.
You want it to be?
Well, January or February, maybe.
Oh, yes. Yeah, this calls for a toast. Sarah, I'm going to be a father.
I know, Robert told me. Oh, I am pleased for you,
Yeah, Robert, go and get Baines. I want everybody to drink to the area of the Onedin line.
Oh, and Mr. Baines is chasing up the dockers to unload your cargo of pineapple.
Oh, well, better not interrupt that then, eh?
No.
He can drink his later then.
You'll need a decent home now you're starting a family.
Oh, my son will lack for nothing.
I believe it's a girl.
Oh, no. It'll be a boy. Well, here's to James II. And to the company that'll one day be his.
There's a very nice house in Trinity Road for sale. Of course, it will have to be furnished, and with a baby to bring up, Anne will need servants.
I'm well aware of Anne's needs.
One would hardly think so from a glance around this place.
Elizabeth, I'll trouble you to leave it to mind my own affairs, will you?
If Anne has to have her baby here...
James has already put aside money for a house, Elizabeth. The cargo of pineapple made a handsome profit.
I thought a lot of it went bad.
Only £50 worth. We made £500 profit on the rest, and with what we'll get from salving the Maria de Gloria, Anne will lack for none of the comforts that you so kindly wish on her.
Oh, dear.
No, no, Anne. Elizabeth will attend to it. She is just leaving.
James, you there?
Brother Robert, what on earth does he want now?
Goodbye, Anne.
Goodbye, Elizabeth. Give my regards to Albert.
When I see him...
Your father will be here next. He'll be happy to toast our son's health from now until Christmas.
James. That ship you salvaged, she's up for auction.
What?
The Maria de Gloria. It's in the Shipping Gazette, look. To be sold at public auction at the Wexford Arms, Carberry, where you left it.
A month's time.
Yeah, barely time for anyone to go and have a look at it, much less decide if there's a use for it. Well, she'll not fetch more than 300 or 400.
Oh, and this must have lost his wits.
The owner abandoned interest in it when it was lost 4 months ago. It belongs to the insurers now, and they seem to want it off their hands just as soon as they can.
Don't they know a fast ship when they see one?
Oh, don't fret, James. It's their loss.
Oh, and ours.
Indeed it is. The salvage court will allow only 1/3 of the value. So whatever it fetches at public auction, even in Ireland, will be deemed the value.
Oh, but it's really worth so much more.
Oh, well.
Oh, well.
Yes, only James thinks that.
The Maria de Gloria, you know, so far I've not met anybody who's ever heard of her.
Nor have I. It seems she'd never been seen in English waters. And according to the shipping movement lists, well, there's no mention of her there anywhere.
Something odd about that ship. I'm going to get to the bottom of it. Robert, we'll go over tonight on a steam packet, eh?
To Ireland?
Ah, we could be in Carberry the day after tomorrow.
Oh, cut your losses, James.
And you'll be all right, eh, if Robert and myself go over to Ireland?
Oh, indeed I will. I'm coming with you.
And a woman in your condition doesn't travel over the Irish Sea in a steam packet.
The Irish Sea is a sight less dangerous than climbing those stairs every time I want to go out.
or lugging coals from the cellar for that abominable stove.
Well, you never made complaint before.
Oh, I've never been with child before.
Where's Robert?
Got no stomach for the sea at all.
Poor Robert. You and I are used to it.
Just heard who's handling the sale of the schooner. It's Mr. Sankey. A sharp customer, I'm told.
Here, how much longer must we endure this bouncing tin kettle?
Long enough for you to acquire your sea legs. And?
Just lost my balance.
You're ill.
I'm not feeling too well.
You'll never see sick. The baby. You should have stayed at home. I told you.
I'm all right, really I am.
She's a lovely line on the water.
Lot of damage.
Day's work for a competent ship's carpenter, no more. Come on. Let's have a word with Mr. Sankey. Mr. Sankey.
Who are you?
Oh, my name's Onedin. It was I that salvaged the Maria de Gloria.
I'm aware of that. Though I fear there won't be much in this for you, Mr. Onedin.
Oh, indeed. Well, now, this is my wife, Anne, and my brother, Robert.
She'll service.
Looks a good ship to me, eh?
She has a bad record.
We haven't seen any records at all. What's she been used for?
Oh, I'm just the insurer's agent. My instructions are to arrange a quick sale and dispose of her.
Why did the owners abandon her, eh?
She couldn't even ride out a gale.
Bad seamanship.
Perhaps.
Some Dago crew from Brazil, eh?
Oh, I know nothing of the crew, except that they were all picked up and taken home to Rio.
Mr. Sankey, what do you think she'll fetch, sir?
My principals would be very happy to receive £500.
Eh?
I did warn you there was little for you in it as salver.
I reckon she's worth 4 times that amount.
But how can you be so sure, James? She doesn't look worth 500 to me. Face the facts, man. You were wrong to price her so highly.
And I think not, Robert.
Look, it's a matter of simple shopkeeping.
Oh, sure it is to you.
Look, if I price a candle at 1 penny, then a penny is what it's worth. Otherwise, I'd charge more.
Mr. Sankey doesn't even want to get more than £500 for her. No one will bid more anyway.
Right. He's got some interest in this, I swear it. I mean, to sell a ship like that, here, in this crowd.
James,
Yes.
£50 worth of pineapple rotted on the Charlotte roads because of the delay. Can you honestly say that you're not just trying to justify that?
You saw her timbers. Not more than 2 years old. Lovely lines, you said.
But, James, you've said yourself you've no way of telling how fast a ship is until you take it to sea.
Ah, well, this time it's different. I just know she's a fast ship.
Oh, it's late. Come to bed.
I mean, why would they want to get rid of her so quickly? And for such a measly sum?
There's more to life than ships.
I wanted you to stay at home, but no, you would come over here making yourself ill, and now that you are
Oh,
here...
I'm sorry. I was foolish. It's Elizabeth. She thinks Albert neglects her.
Neglects her? Fine house, carriages, servants...
Everything she needs, so he's no need to feel guilty about not being there himself. She thinks you'd be the same. For a moment, when you wanted me to stay behind... Oh, I admit I was foolish, James. James, where are you going? James!
Who's there?
Mr. Onedin.
Mr. Sankey, I'm just looking around, you know.
At this time of night?
Well, couldn't sleep, you know.
What can you see in the dark?
All that I want, I think. Well, good night, Mr. Sankey.
I could bring you before a magistrate for this. This is not your property, Mr. Onedin.
And I've no wish it to be, either.
So you went aboard last night, then?
I found out what I wanted to know.
Oh? And what was that?
The Maria de Gloria's a slaver.
A slaver?
I found the fittings for the manacles. And she had a tween deck at one time or other, too.
The slave trade's illegal now.
Ah, well, still goes on.
How? I thought the French and English navies had ships on the African coast to stop it.
So you need a fast ship to evade them. A ship especially built for the purpose. The Brazilians have got too much in slavery to give up the trade altogether. So that schooner was especially designed to put a long wait between her and any ship pursuing her. No wonder you couldn't find out about her, Robert. I doubt she's ever been registered.
But what's she doing in northern latitudes?
Well, maybe they was after a Brazilian owners. And he wants to get rid of her, eh? So he takes on a cargo of sugar, and with the same crew, he sends her on a commercial voyage through seas they've never sailed before.
And at the first sign of trouble, they take to the boat.
So that explains why the insurers want a quick sale. The less attention drawn to her, the better.
Suits my purpose fine.
But you want the ship to get the real value so that you'll get a just salvage award.
Hang the salvage award. I'd rather have the ship.
What?
For £500, she'd be an absolute bargain. On the fruit run from the Azores, she'd beat everybody home. Now, I'll tell you something. When we get back to Liverpool, we display no more interest in the Maria de Gloria. We tell nobody.
But I thought the £500 was for a house.
Oh, and we can always get a house. But we'll never have a chance of a schooner like that. Not for £500.
It's a poor lookout for a man of my years if he's to be denied the occasion to drink a health to his own grandson.
It'll be 6 months at least before he's even born. And the way you're drinking his health, you'll not be here for the christening.
Well, I understand at least he's to be born in a more salubrious surrounding than this.
Yes, James is to buy a house for us.
The property I'm told you have in mind seems sound enough in her timbers, if a bit short on accommodation.
If it's the house in Trinity Road that you're referring to, I've been to look at it, that's all. I'm not sure I'm completely taken with it. In any case, at the moment, James needs the money for other purposes.
But it only takes one other bidder to find out about that ship, and the price will soon soar to its proper value.
Well, I'll just have to chance that, won't I? £500 is as far as I can go.
Huh. So Anne must do without the house in Trinity Road.
Oh, if anybody talks to me about that again...
Look, we're
Sarah.
only trying to help James.
Help?
Yes, I mean...
James, we do have something saved. And with that little nest egg from my Aunt Maud...
Are you offering me a loan?
Well, not exactly.
No, we thought if we could buy, say 500 of your Onedin line shares, well, then they'd still be in family.
Oh,
and
now,
since
if you want to
need
buy some more shares, you buy them from the public. That way we'll have all the more in the family, won't we? Unless, of course, you want to reduce my holding. Eh? Robert, I might have to sell some shares, but if I do, I'll sell them to people I know I can buy them back from.
Has James Onedin found out she was a slaver?
I can't say, but I strongly suspect that he has.
Well, if he has, he'll bid for her. Oh, good morning, Emma. Miss Emma Callan, may I present Mr. Sankey, agent for Weatherby's, who insured the Maria de Gloria.
I'll take my leave.
Oh, there's no need. You can speak freely in front of Miss Callan. She owns the business.
Indeed.
She also has a head for it.
Very pretty one, too, if I may say so.
Now, Mr. Sankey thinks that James Onedin may have stumbled on the truth about the Maria de Gloria.
That she's a slaver?
Well, a fast ship, anyway. A ship he might be inclined to purchase if he could get it cheap enough.
Well, Wilbraham, at least, will bid against him.
So will I. Because if James Onedin's at that auction, I'll be there too.
And if that's the case, there's no question of this private sale we've been discussing.
A private sale?
Well, Mr. Sankey remembers our interest in the Maria de Gloria when her owners wanted to dispose of her quickly 6 months ago. And now she's turned up again. Brought in by, of all people, James Onedin. Mr. Sankey's offering her to us for a straight £2,500.
Well, then why go to the trouble of putting her up for auction?
To save Mr. Sankey's principals from paying James Onedin the salvage money he expects.
How?
Well, if we don't let anyone know what a fast ship she is, ma'am, no one will bother to go all the way to Ireland to bid for her.
Most of the locals will go to is about £400, and Mr. Sankey's man, what's his name?
Wilbraham.
Aye, Wilbraham has instructions to top that.
You'll get it for 450 at the most.
Of which James Onedin gets 1/3 as salvage.
A mere £150.
Aye.
And then your Mr. Wilbraham, acting for you, sells the schooner to us.
On the quiet for £2,500.
What would she be worth if you auctioned her fairly?
Well, at the least 3,000.
She's as good as that.
Yes, she's remarkable, ma'am.
Which is why my Mr. Sankey knows we'll be glad to have her.
Well, you can bid at the auction if you prefer, Mr. Fogarty. But remember my way. You gain a considerable bargain. We save ourselves a great sum by preventing Onedin from getting the full salvage deal. From what I hear, that in itself could be quite a consideration with you, Mr. Fogarty.
Yes, but if James Onedin's going to bid for the ship himself...
Well, in that case, our transaction can't stand.
So it's imperative that we find out.
James says she'd beat everything on the sea from the Azores.
A fine time to buy a ship.
Oh, the right time if it's a bargain.
Elizabeth.
Oh, quite the stay at home these days, aren't you, James? That's nice to be with your wife at a time like this.
Is dinner ready yet?
It will be soon if the fire's not gone out.
Anne says you're not going to buy that house in Trinity Road after all.
Elizabeth, I've told you before, keep out of our affairs.
You mean to leave her here, don't you? Your profits and your ships come first, even before your own child.
Anne is as anxious as I am that our child shall make no difference to our way of life. She readily understands that if I need to put the affairs of the Onedin line before a bow-fronted window or a lace-covered cot, that I've every right to do so. Well, am I not right, Anne?
Of course, James. I must go. I left the servants spring cleaning, and with Albert away, they're inclined to grow lax in their duties. How lucky you are, Anne, not to be troubled with these problems.
Next time my sister comes to call, I advise you to be a bit more reticent with your confidences, eh?
Could you put some more coal on the fire for me? I've managed to fill the bucket, but it's the lifting I find hard.
Anne, if it should be necessary to find more than £500, would you begrudge me the expenditure?
Well, how could you raise the money?
Sell some of the shares.
In that case, couldn't you sell a few more and we could have a house as well?
Be a year before the Maria de Gloria made enough profit to buy back the shares.
And a house couldn't make any profit to buy them back.
So you would begrudge it me, eh?
I can manage the stairs without undue exertion at the moment, but not the coal.
I hope I'm not incommoding you.
Oh, an unexpected honor, Miss Callan.
Well, I'd heard your wife was with child, and knowing there'll be times when you're away at sea, I wanted her to know if there was ever anything I could do.
My wife has everything she needs.
I came out of kindness, not charity.
Oh, won't you sit down, Miss Callan? Afraid you find us ill-prepared for visitors.
Well, pray make no ceremony for me, Mrs. Onedin.
You'll take a glass of something? We have some Madeira.
No, I can see you're just about to dine. I'll call another day.
You'd think nobody'd ever had a baby before.
Well, your wife has never had one before.
It's not expected for another 6 months yet, at least.
Well, let's hope you're home for the happy event. And that by then your fortunes will have turned sufficiently to provide for it.
Miss Callan, why have you called, eh?
I admit that whilst here I did intend to make inquiries about something else. But my concern for your wife is no less genuine for that. This ship you salvaged. Well, Mr. Fogarty and I were wondering whether it was worth going over to Ireland to bid for her.
Well, would I tell you if it were?
Well, you would, I think, if you knew, in fact, it were not.
What if I were to tell you that the Maria de Gloria is so unstable that she'd found her after hitting the first gale, that she's so unseaworthy that I should have let her to sink. What would you infer from that, eh? That I wanted you out of the way so I could get her cheaply myself?
Very possibly. My uncle may have underrated you, but I do not.
Well, whoever buys the Maria de Gloria buys a pig in a poke. For £500, she could be worth it, or she could not. For the Callan Company, it's not much of a risk. But for my wife and myself, expecting our first, well, we've got better things to spend our money on.
Well, I appreciate your candor. Good day, Mrs. Onedin. I'll see myself out. Good day.
Now, Miss Callan. Here. That should kill any interest in her there, eh? Now, unless anybody else has heard of that ship, she's as good as ours.
Oh, James, stop it.
Stop what?
It all seems so petty.
Huh? That ship could be the way back for us.
Another ship, another gamble. Oh, I'm sorry. I just feel so weary. I'll get you dinner. I fear it'll be overdone.
I see you're sailing today, Mr. Baines.
Aye, Mr. Fogarty.
Onedin's in command.
Aye. His wife's with him now, saying goodbye. We sail on the tide.
Oh. So we won't be on hand to see what he might get for salvaging that schooner. The auction's tomorrow.
He's not expecting much from that.
Got his fingers burnt there, didn't he?
Why don't you buy her, sir? You can afford a few thousand.
A few thousand? Well, she's not worth more than 300 or 400, from what I'm told.
Captain Onedin never wants to hear of the Maria de Gloria again.
I'm not surprised, Mr. Baines.
Well, why are you sailing today?
An idle ship costs money. We were loaded sooner than I counted on, so why wait?
So that you can go to Ireland to buy that schooner.
Oh, you say that.
Yes. James, you've hardly spoken a word to me these last 2 days. Can't you see I'm trying to make amends? I want you to buy her.
Another venture, another gamble.
Oh, I was just feeling so weary that day. Frightened. I was even a bit envious, too. Emma Callan in her fine clothes and Elizabeth. Look, I don't care a jot for a house. If buying the Maria de Gloria is what we need, well, that auction's tomorrow. You must be there, whatever it costs.
Come in.
Excuse me, sir.
Oh, yeah.
I just thought you'd like to know I fooled Mr. Fogarty all the way.
He thinks I'm saying it.
I neglected to tell him I got my master's certificate back.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Mr. Baines.
Thank you, ma'am. I told him you'd no wish to hear of the Maria de Gloria again. So if you go now, you just have time to catch the packet.
Yeah, only your pocket it doesn't sail as well.
We did only bother with that if he thought you were, too, sir. You'll have it all to yourself. Let's hope it's worth what you pay for it.
I'll be back in a couple of days, eh? With the schooner.
So he was going anyway. I should have guessed.
Well, you know Captain Onedin, ma'am.
Yes. But for a while, I forgot.
But what about her finer points, Mr. Sankey? How do I recommend her to the buyers?
Just say she's a 300-ton schooner in need of repairs.
A powerful, fine schooner in good state of repair.
That is not what I said, Mr. Delaney.
A broad beam, sits well on the water, good, strong hindquarters of solid...
She is a ship, not a prize bull.
Maybe, but I'm a deal more skilled at selling cattle than ships. And there's so little to attract her imagination, as it were. Ah, the Dublin coach. Let's hope it brings some customers. Nobody from these parts has money to spare.
I should have thought she was just what was needed for the local potato trade.
There's a small bunch of farmers who form themselves into a sort of a syndicate. And if they haven't drunk the money away before the auction tomorrow, they maybe bid a few hundred. But if you want her to fetch you a fair price...
We just want her disposed of, Mr. Delaney.
Ah, here's someone with the right smell of affluence about him.
His name's Wilbraham. You'll find tomorrow he could well be your man.
And with the gentleman upstairs as well, I was forgetting him.
Gentleman upstairs. This was hardly necessary.
Just here to observe, Mr. Sankey, to keep an eye on my interest in the matter.
Good evening, Fogarty.
Good evening, Mr. Onedin.
James has taken all the money he could raise to Ireland with him. I don't know why you put up with it, Anne. Why I ever questioned it, I want to know. I married him for security, and I love him for the lack of it. Dear Elizabeth, you wouldn't understand at all.
£300 I am bid, do I hear, for. 400 for this fine schooner. Now, gentlemen, this auction is conducted by inch of candle. When the candle burns out, the lot falls to whatever bid I've accepted at that time. Now, take heed from my experience as an auctioneer. In the hope of getting it cheap, you stand to lose it altogether if you leave it to the last moment. So who will bid me £400? 350. 320.
If your friend Wilbraham doesn't push the price up soon, Onedin will get it for a mere £400. He, I know, isn't going to raise his hand until that candle's near burns out.
Just in time for Wilbraham to make another bid.
You can't count on that.
Oh, Wilbraham knows these auctions by inch of candle. He can time them to a fraction of a second. So keep calm, Mr. Fogarty. Wilbraham will get that schooner for 450, and our transaction can take place as planned.
But if Onedin should get him first, I'll not risk it.
Wait a moment, Justin.
Ah, come on now, gentlemen. Surely we can do better than this.
Oh, Elizabeth, wait!
Less than half an inch of candle left, and I'm still only bid £350. Do I hear £400? Mr. Wilbraham. Ah, thank you, sir. Now, who will bid me £450? Yes, sir, Mr. Onedin. £500. Thank you, Mr. Wilbraham. £550. With Mr. Onedin at £550. Ah, 600 I'm bid.
Wilbraham's limit. If he goes any higher, we've nothing to gain by selling to you afterwards.
But if Onedin should get it now...
650 I am bid.
That's your Irishmen, the potato merchants.
Well, at least let's see the colour of Onedin's money.
700. I look for 700. Who will bid me £700? 700, Mr. Wilbraham. Can you help me, Mr. Onedin? 750 I am bid. Mr. Wilbraham. 800, Mr. Wilbraham. Now, who will bid me £800? I am bid 700.
He's still in at 800. Just how much higher can he
now,
go?
Gentlemen, there's only a minute or two.
Time we found out.
And I must have £800. Yes, sir. I have £800, and the gentleman has just joined us, Mr.
Fogarty.
850. Thank you, Mr. Onedin. 900. Ah, that's better. £900 I am bid. 950. 1,000. Do I hear £1,000? Well, who will bid me £1,000? With Mr. Onedin there at £950, do I hear 1,000? 1,000. Thank you, sir. Now, gentlemen, time is running out. Can we say £1,200? 1,100 then. Who will give me £1,100? With Mr. Fogarty at £1,000, do I hear 1,100? Ah, 1,100. Come, gentlemen.
James!
Do I hear 1,100? 1,100. Am I bid £1,100?
You are.
You're leaving it late, sir.
Well, get on with it then.
1,200. Ah, 1,200 I am bid. 1,250. 1,300, Mr. Fogarty. Thank you, sir. 1,400. Yes, sir. 15. 16. 17. 18. I must have more than this, gentlemen. Can I hear £1,900? Will you give me £1,900? 2,000. 2,200. 2,400. With Mr. Onedin at £2,400, will you give me £2,600? Can I say £2,800, Mr. Onedin? Do I hear £2,800? With Mr. Fogarty at £2,600, do I hear 2,800?
You hear £2,800.
2,800, I bid 3,000. 2,900. 2,850. Sold to Captain Onedin for £2,800.
I hope you've got the money, Mr. Onedin.
You made a deal with Serie, didn't you? Auction her off cheaply, trick me out of my salvage award, and buy her for the Callan Company.
But you didn't know my limit, did you, Onedin? Well, you've got yourself a fine ship.
So we'll get nearly £1,000 for the salvage award, which means the schooner's cost me under £2,000.
And you have but £500. You'll have to sell nearly £1,500 worth of your shares.
Ah, but she's a fine schooner.
So,
but on the assault
back.
run, she'll make more than... What's happened? Anne? Where's Anne?
In bed. Ill.
She was lifting the coal for that stove, and no one else here at the time.
Anne?
A child. She hasn't lost.
Yes. But what matter? James has gained another ship. Did you get the schooner?
Yeah.
Good. That's what we need.
Would you come this way?
Very fine. James keeps his promises anyway.
A high price to pay for a new house? A lost baby? I do not think so.
Oh, do try to be civil, Albert. I am your wife.
You haven't been a wife to me in years.
You're never at home, are you?
You refuse to follow me.
And you had scant need for a wife in Turkey, by all accounts.
If you had the smallest regard for wifely duties, you'd have...
Oh, it's duty now, is it?
Was it ever love?
Would you come in here, please?
Ah, there they are. Albert.
Elizabeth. But...
Surprise, eh?
happy anniversary.
Of your wedding, man. It was Anne's idea to warm her new house. Eh?
How lovely. And everybody here. William's not so little now. My husband insisted that he went away to school.
It's harder nowadays to find good servants than it was to find our new house.
My husband, who is the Member of Parliament for Liverpool, you know, is always...
Says I, man, I. Here.
My congratulations, Mr. Onedin.
Upon what?
Oh, upon a fine house, servants, a new prosperity. Since you beat me to the Maria de Gloria, you're a man to be reckoned with again.
Never doubt it.
Both your ships working?
Aye, and another one under charter. The Lady Lazenby. Ah, which reminds me, if you'll excuse me, Fogarty. Thanks.
Thank you. House full of gentry, Sarah.
The cream of Liverpool society, Robert.
And us as good as any of them.
Well, does it put you in a mood, Emma?
For what?
Well, for naming the date of our wedding.
Husbands and wives. I doubt their social faces.
Away on another voyage?
Aye, to America.
With that?
No, not this time. So if you'll forgive me if I slip off in a moment, Anne will be here to look after your interests.
So will Fogarty.
You look extremely well, Elizabeth.
Well, thank you, sir.
And a reception in your honor.
So it seems.
You must what, Mr. Onedin?
Must ask to be excused out here, Lady Lazenby.
What, in the middle of your own reception?
Well, time and tide, you know.
Oh, nonsense. I will not believe but that you have bought Time and Tide in Liverpool, along with so much else.
Aye, well, if they were for sale.
Well, are they not? Did you not assure my husband when you sold him so many of your shares that the Onedin steamships would make you independent of them?
I sold those shares to your husband to buy the Maria de Gloria and this house on the understanding that I could buy them back.
Ah, well, I see. So now you're off to America to make your fortune.
And on your husband's business.
And returning with winter wheat and molasses.
Oh, you make us sound like tradesmen, Mr. Onedin.
But fine tradesmen, though, Lady Lazenby.
Royal set. Good. Anchors lashed properly.
Aye, sir. Lovely ship, sir.
Aye, they're all lovely before a wind like this, Mr. Baines. Wish the Lady Lazenby were mine instead of on charter.
Aye, sir.
And she's sweeter than her namesake.
Elizabeth, I will not tolerate this. Even at Anne's reception, you and Fogarty. Flirting and smiling, billing and cooing. Do you think no one sees these things?
I think the servants will hear you if you do not moderate your tone.
Well, they can only gossip, too. Does it give you pleasure that people smirk and talk about us in public?
People will talk with or without cause.
They have cause.
Not from me.
Cause enough. If they say you're no wife to me, they're right.
I don't know what you mean.
I am tired of being reasonable and patient with you. I've waited and I've hoped. Hoped that by being kind and considerate, you would at least come to respect me out of simple justice.
We can't pretend we've had a loving marriage. But how can it improve when you treat me like a guest in your house that faintly bores you? You can't forget William or forgive me.
William is my son. Who his father was became immaterial a long time since. But you have cheated me of so very much. You are cold and unfair.
It's not I who am cold.
Am I?
Perhaps you are just not as warm-blooded as some.
Warm-blooded?
Yes.
Married to you?
Not as manly. Albert?
Whoa. Get up.
Go on in. Go on with you. Oh, Albert, you don't know how pleased I'm to see you. You know, I was afraid that you... No. Well, truth to tell, I was ashamed. I just didn't know who else to turn to. Was kind of you, paying those bills.
Oh, that's all right.
Only the show closed. Well, it's not a busy time in the theatre just now. I've not worked since. It's very hard for a woman alone.
Carrie, you're all right now.
Well, I'm fine.
I mean, money for food and rent.
Oh, I'll manage. No.
Well, take it if you need it, please.
Oh, you darling man.
Oh, I'll tell Mom.
Anne, I must tell you. That will do, thank you, Maggie.
Anne, may I stay here with you for a few days? At least until I find myself some other lodgings.
What has happened?
I've left Albert.
Is it not late for a respectable matron to be abroad?
Well, it's late for me anyway. Come on, Sarah, it's time we were going.
Just a moment.
Sarah.
Just a moment, Robert. I want to know what brings Elizabeth here.
Do you know... Well, with all our talk, we quite forgot the main purpose of your visit.
So we did. Those papers upon which James requires our signatures.
On which I require your signatures.
Oh, yes.
You see, we have a legitimate reason for our gallivanting.
But what brings Elizabeth here?
Oh, I beg pardon, Mom, but now it's Mr. Fraser.
I see.
Albert.
I'd expected better of you, at least.
It is not the way you think.
But you'll aid and abettor in her latest foolishness.
We are not alone, Albert.
No, I can quite see that.
Look, I don't pretend to understand what's going on, but this is no time for our family set.
What do you and Onedins know of family? You harbour my wife, connive at a meeting with this man,
Do you intend your tone and manner to be so offensive?
Do you deny you were sitting here discussing it? Laughing and talking with a spoilt girl with no better sense of loyalty than to desert me out of pique?
You?
I do deny it, yes.
I followed you tonight.
You were ever a trollop and now you're a spy.
I've advised your wife before this to stay with you.
Oh. I owe my marriage to your whim, do I?
Well, your marriage is none of my business.
Oh, yes, it is. It's very much your business. If my wife deserts me, I'll not maintain her. She'll get not one penny from me.
You need your money, do you, to support mistresses?
You'll need money. So get it from the man you left me for.
Stop it, all of you. I will not have such behaviour in my house. Robert, Sarah and Mr. Fogarty were here by purest chance, and any other suggestion is a direct affront to me.
I can't believe that.
Very well. Robert, please see that he leaves this house. If James...
No, if, but he isn't. Oh, all right, Anna. Albert, I think you should leave.
Oh, I shall go.
And Elizabeth, it's my opinion that you should go with your husband.
Go? I shall not. I'd rather walk the streets.
You may yet be doing that.
Love it.
Sir?
This isn't your first trip, is it?
No, sir. Done 2 trips to Cherbourg, sir.
You that trimmed the lamps this morning.
Aye, sir.
What about this one, eh? Thoughts of New York taking your minds off your work? Been smoking. What if it should start a fire? Well, retrim it.
Yes, sir. Aye, aye, sir. Sorry, sir.
Mrs. Fraser has left her husband.
Aye.
Oh, you knew that?
I fear it may end in the law courts.
Law courts? Divorce, you mean?
Or separation.
Oh, it's unthinkable. It would ruin the Onedins, and Captain Onedin would never permit it to come to that.
Well, he's at sea, isn't he?
I'm also told that Robert and Sarah were party to her walking out, and aided and abetted it. And even that she may have left him for...
Go on.
for you.
I see.
So there is no substance to it?
None.
Well, I'm glad of that. For I cannot afford scandal of any kind in my situation. Nor even less could you.
Me?
Scandal would prevent us being wed.
Truth to tell, I cannot feel a great deal of sympathy for you, Elizabeth. You've behaved shabbily, in my opinion. You foisted upon Albert a child who was not his own, yet he's come to love young William. He's had to suffer selfishness and willfulness from you, and yet he still has some regard for you.
Well, if you feel like that, perhaps I better not stay here.
No? Where will you go?
If I have been shabby to deceive Albert, though it was before my marriage, the man with whom it happened must yet do his duty by me.
He wanted to do his duty, as you call it, at the time, and you rejected him. Now, if you've got any girlish dream that Mr. Fogarty can somehow rescue you, you're sadly mistaken. Anything he did would ruin both of you.
I don't see why people do get divorced nowadays.
As a last resort, to rid themselves of an impossibly wicked or immoral partner. I think I should tell you, as soon as you came here, I wrote straight away to James. The news should reach him in New York.
You had no right. This is my life.
James won't stand by and see you ruin it.
James is very far away.
Oh, and I'm not to be disturbed. I am so sorry to have been so long with that gentleman.
Of course, Mr. Fellows.
But you would not have enjoyed meeting him. I'm afraid they are not gentlemen in his kind of work.
What did he discover?
Not happy news, I'm afraid. It only goes to show how wise you were to take legal advice as early as you did in this.
But what news?
Ah. Your husband is not being wise. It's beginning to build into a solid case for judicial separation.
Well, you understand that's not truly what I want. I only want my husband to maintain me.
No, I said not one penny till she comes home, and I stand by it.
But you're not living at home, Albert. You're living here.
The servants have left, and I'm not going to live in an empty house. So?
Albert, I came to you quite reasonably.
Let Elizabeth come. She deserted me.
With provocation, Albert, with provocation.
With less provocation than I've had in years of marriage. I'm not prepared to discuss my affairs with you.
Affairs? Then you must discuss them with someone.
Must? Oh, I think not.
Here we are, then. I thought you might care for a glass of wine. We just got a bottle in.
Thank you.
I'll put it there. Nothing else? Well, just call Albert.
You seem quite comfortable here. Well looked after by Miss Harris?
I don't recall making introductions.
This won't do, Albert. It's affecting the business, you know. And there's Fogarty daily growing more impatient for plans for your steamship. Contracts are going elsewhere, trade's falling off. Scandal never was good for business, Albert. It must be stopped.
You stop it, then.
Look, Albert, you and Elizabeth must, I don't know, make up. come back together. Anything but regularize this situation.
Elizabeth sent you to say this?
No. No. Sarah and I thought that... Well, yes, Elizabeth knew that I was coming here.
Yes. And the remedy's in her own hands.
Is it? Look, I don't pretend that Elizabeth is an easy person to live with, but there's fault on your side too, you know. Well, for heaven's sake, man, here you are living in what can only be called sin with a music hall singer.
Out. Get out.
What is it, sir?
It's from my wife. Sent all the way across the Atlantic at great expense. Well, how goes the loading then, eh?
We're a deckhand short, but we're nearly done, sir. The molasses and wheat are loaded. We've just those crates of medical supplies.
Right, sail on the first tide. Get up there with a belaying pin if you have to, but we must be finished. Sail a man short if we have to.
Bad news, was it, sir?
Aye, bad and worse, unless we get back to England soon.
On the contrary, Lady Lazenby, it's very gracious of you to call.
Well, I thought it was time that someone returned your call.
I'm sorry?
Your sister-in-law? How is she?
In excellent health, thank you.
Good. The air must be doing her some good.
The air?
Well, she has been leaving cards, so I understand, over half the city.
Oh, Elizabeth was always fond of company and visiting.
Yes, indeed. So she must miss them. Or am I being too direct?
A cake?
No, thank you. I am a believer in the large effects of small matters. Small virtues, small vices. That is in moderation.
Smorty.
No, thank you. I also believe that an accumulation of virtues can become a happy life and make for a safe society in which each individual may be fulfilled according to his station. Vices, on the other hand, can also become a pattern of life, but a pattern that is totally unacceptable.
Unacceptable to whom?
Why, to society. There must be order, right or wrong. We're not monkeys, Mrs. Onedin.
I have read that a Mr. Charles Darwin would have us believe otherwise.
Oh, really? Then I should say that such reading was not fitting for a gentlewoman. Oh, dear me, no. Oh, no. Where would such an idea lead us? Mrs. Onedin, I have the warmest regard for you personally. So now I must presume upon your forbearance.
Yes?
Well, you will know that you're not being received in society. And I must tell you, it may seriously affect your husband's business interests.
I see.
The pressure is so great that even my own husband may be forced to sell his shareholdings in the Onedin steamships. And I take it that your husband does not have the sum required to buy them back himself?
Not yet, and he wants to buy them back.
He will never earn the money in the present climate. There is too much gossip. And this is just the beginning. Do tell me, is it true that Mr. Fraser contemplates nothing less than a divorce?
It is true. Mrs. Fraser has been served with papers and she will cross-petition for a separation.
Your family could not survive it. Spite and gossip will finish you. Oh, scandal may sometimes be lived down, but this will be the end of the Onedin family.
What can I do?
No one can help you, Mrs. Onedin, and nobody can save you, except that there must be no divorce.
Is it, lad?
Mr. Bean's compliments, sir. And have we yet laid down the new course for England?
We? I have.
Sorry, sir.
Right, we hugged the coast as far north as Newfoundland, and then by a great circle, north by Ireland, eh? Inform Mr. Baines of my wishes, will you?
Aye, sir.
Well, no, Captain, not questioning an order. I was just trying to say that
Just
if...
do as I bid, Mr. Baines.
I was trying to say if we run so far north on your course, there's every chance we'll meet ice at this time of the year.
Well, we've very little choice at the moment. Wind's still southeasterly.
We may be blown still further north, sir, and we run the risk of meeting icebergs. Now, may I suggest...
I weigh the risks, Mr. Baines. It's imperative that we make a fast passage to Liverpool.
Aye, sir.
No, now you stop it.
You look so pretty, Emma.
You quite wicked. You should be ashamed of yourself, Daniel Fogarty.
But I'm not. Don't run away.
You frightened me.
I do. I'm a lamb.
And you told me a falsehood. Now take me home.
What falsehood?
Papers, you said. And papers you simply must collect. It was just an excuse to trick me into being alone with you.
A little white lie. Otherwise, I would have had to take you home.
So you must. Imagine my reputation. Bad enough that I should dine in public with you.
As do all the best people. You make me feel so wicked, Emma.
You make me feel.
A little wicked, too. Emma, darling, you're so beautiful.
Daniel.
I love you, Emma.
Daniel.
I love you.
So nice. And all that champagne has made my head so... Oh, my darling. Yes. Please. Yes. Oh, Daniel. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Shh, it's all right.
I'm just so frightened.
There's nothing to be frightened of.
I can't. You're too fine for me. So kind.
kind and gentle and understanding. You might have swayed me, even forced me to, and you didn't. I'm so unwomanly.
No, Emma, you're beautiful.
It terrifies me. The thought of children.
Is that all?
How can I be married?
It's very easy, love. All you have to say is, I do. I love you, Emma.
And I love you so very, very much. To be so understanding and so patient with me.
Well, I learned patience in a hard school.
Of course. Did she hurt you very much?
Who?
Elizabeth. Mrs. Fraser. You were to have married her, weren't you?
Well, that was a long time ago, and one learns something. Then I thought I was in love too. Now you can understand how one may be carried away in a moment of passion.
Oh, yes.
I was. We both were, and then I did not call a halt.
I see. And all this time you've been wrestling with your conscience, trying 1,000 times to tell me. Oh, and now you have. And I shall show you that I can be understanding too. And now we'll never talk about it again. Will we?
Well,
Oh, no.
Emma,
So you are to be involved. They will name you in this terrible divorce.
it's possible.
But why? And what you just told me happened before she married Albert Fraser. How can it possibly have any... What is it, Daniel? There's something else. Something you've not told me.
Elizabeth.
What is it you're keeping from me, Daniel? I demand to know.
Very well. William, their son, and his father.
Your child?
Now, you said you could be understanding too.
And all this is going to come out before the court. You had to tell me, didn't you? Before I found out. And you tried to seduce me. You wanted to seduce me just so that you could tell me this.
No, Emma, no.
Your child. Oh, I hate you. I hate you.
Fetch the boatswain, Mr. Lovett.
Aye, sir.
Sir, very far north, and if we don't bring in some more sail, we'll be blown clear to the Arctic with this freak wind. Not let up for days.
You thinking to relieve me of command?
No, sir. Sorry, sir.
You sound like an apprentice. What ails you?
Oh, nothing, sir, only... That's snow, and it's blowing up right now.
I'm far from sure a judicial separation is our wisest course.
You mean he's agreed to maintain me?
No, no, no. I mean he intends to sue, even though he has no certain case.
Well, then what do you suggest, Mr. Fellows?
As your lawyer, I would advise we cross-petition Mr. Fraser for divorce.
Counsel's opinion is that any action on your part for divorce would be ill-considered.
That's impertinent.
No, 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 in the legal sense.
She deserted me.
I'm afraid that your wife's desertion does not constitute sufficient ground for divorce. Her lawyer advises...
I wonder if she went to a lawyer, I'd subpoena Fogarty and make public her unchastity with him. I shall sue for a divorce.
They cannot yet sue on the grounds of your desertion. However, your husband's adultery...
Mere adultery?
Few men are wholly blameless. Now, her relationship with Mr. Fogarty...
Her adultery with Fogarty?
No, you were not married.
And that doesn't count.
You may be held to have condoned.
They will want to get you into court. Perhaps an attempt to have you declared an unfit mother.
But she has always been a kind and a loving mother.
It is what these things may be shown to be in law.
It's a nightmare.
More efficacious still might be an action to have the child declared illegitimate.
Your son?
But he is not your son.
Oh, dear heaven.
The advantages of such an action would be to...
present their case...
our version of the facts...
before a court of law.
Subpoena Daniel Fogarty...
And if they win, we could find that it will...
strengthen our hand in the event of any subsequent divorce action.
No, I only want my husband to maintain me.
I don't hate her so much that I could do those things against her.
Immature.
This is the law.
But will he ignore advice?
No. It must be divorce or nothing.
Well then, you have set the law in motion, and we have...
already served you with papers for divorce.
However, we shall lose.
I don't care.
And we should win.
Mr. Baines? Mr. Baines? Sir? All hands on deck.
All hands on deck! All hands on deck! What for, sir? We're iced up pretty solid all over.
For topmast. She's sprung. She's cracking.
Aye, and badly, sir.
Get the sails down.
And go over to gallants, the fore topsail sheets, and clew up! Come on, lads, look lively there. We've got to free that topmast, it's cracking. Lively, lads, lively. Stand by to let go the upper sheets. Look out, below there!
We saved the ship, sir.
Hush, man. You give me the rum, boy.
My legs. It'll have to be cut off, won't it?
Yes. The rum, boy, the rum.
Beg your pardon, sir, but there's medical supplies aboard. When Mr. Baines was checking the cargo, sir, I saw ether and carbolic.
But did you see a doctor to use them?
But ether's much superior to rum, sir. You see, with rum, the patient may remain conscious. And...
hang your lad. Don't you dare argue with the captain.
I have used rum. I know nothing about ether, boy.
I've seen it being used, sir. My father's a medical man. Oh, believe me, sir, with ether...
Yes, I believe you. I've read too. We may keep him unconscious as long as maybe, eh?
Captain, please, Captain, we know rum, sir. I've seen legs like this, and it'll have to cut. Just give me enough rum, and I'll not feel a thing, sir.
Ether and carbolic. Get me a bottle of each.
A writ for what?
For a bill that I can't pay.
And what is it this time? Clothes, drink, hats, feathers?
That's not nice. How am I supposed to live?
You could
On air.
work.
As what? A governess? Who'd employ me? Oh, I could go on the streets or to the poorhouse. You don't know what it's like with all your fine relations.
Perhaps. I'll pay your bill this time, Carrie, but there's an end to it.
Where are you going now?
I'm moving out.
Oh, where to? Who else would suffer you in all your moods?
I'm going back to my own house.
He's unconscious, sir.
Boy, a leg like that. What would your father do, eh?
Don't know, sir. Cut it, sir.
It comes of a crippled sailor. Baines in a poor house. No.
But you must cut it, sir. It might go gangrenous.
Well, should not the carbolic help prevent that?
Well, you could never walk in that again, sir.
You say the ether will keep him unconscious?
Aye.
Well, I could try to mend the leg.
We risk killing him, sir.
Here, come on. Get out of the cabin, you two. Come on. Can hardly breathe in here.
Oh, Albert, I beg you to reconsider. If James were here...
He would order it and I would not obey. But James is not here.
No.
So?
Oh, Albert, I beg you not to ruin all of us.
Yes, Anne. You beg. But Elizabeth, not a word from her.
Oh, she's as stubborn as you.
I have reconsidered. I'm going ahead.
Sir, he's blue in the face.
Oh, quick then. Check the course with the helmsman. God knows where we are now.
Aye, aye, sir.
How do you feel?
All right, sir. Consider it. That's the end of me at it, sir. As a sailor.
No, Mr. Baines.
You know, it's funny, sir. I always heard that you could still feel it. I could still feel that leg there, clear as if I hadn't lost it.
You ain't lost it. I didn't cut it.
Oh, don't mollycoddle me, sir.
You're enough trouble to me with two legs, leave alone one. I didn't cut it. I set it. You still have both legs.
I've seen legs like that, sir. You couldn't save a leg like that, sir.
Look!
God. You didn't cut. I'll get the gangrene, sir.
God, oh, pleasing you.
Sir, Captain, sir, the ace! Sir, the ace! I thought it's breaking up, sir.
We may still get to Liverpool on time.
No sign of trouble yet? Not even the traces yet. Sure. Yeah. Morning.
Good morning.
Is Mr. Fraser in court yet?
No, not yet. Is Mrs. Fraser in court yet?
No, not yet. Dear me. Neither principal in this action here yet.
Do you think that we ought to tell the clerk to inform his lordship?
No. Leave it a moment, yet a while.
Oh, you're home, sir. Oh, we didn't know when to expect you. It's such an honor. Mrs. Onedin's in the drawing room. Oh,
Here. What's wrong?
I thought you were lost.
I've told you before. You can't lose me. Now, this letter. Albert and Elizabeth. What of them?
You're too late, James. They'll be in court now.
Good morning.
Elizabeth.
Albert.
This is disgraceful, really.
Yes, indeed, after all our work.
Mind you,
What?
we could almost get on without them.
Oh, thank you.
What?
Good.
What is it?
I've come back. If you'll have me.
Have you? Yes. Oh, yes.
Because who else ever would?
Emma,
Daniel, my dear.
how wonderful to see you.
That creature. Just look at that dress. Shameless.
Elizabeth! Welcome home. When did you get it? You look splendid.
It's absolutely the latest fashion, direct from Paris. Do say you like it, Albert.
Only a blind man could fail to express his admiration.
Miss Callan, Fogarty.
Thank you for an entertaining voyage, Mr. Fogarty.
My pleasure, Mrs. Fraser.
Of course, I shall never wear a crinoline again. They are so demodé. What was that wretch doing aboard your ship?
She was a passenger.
Passenger, indeed. Now, let me tell you, Daniel Fogarty.
No, Miss Emma Callan, I will not permit you to tell me. Not here, not in public. If you wish to raise your voice like a fishwife, then do so in the privacy of my office.
It's nothing more than an unfortunate coincidence.
I would not trust her an inch.
On the way back from Paris, she took passage aboard the first ship bound for Liverpool.
She is a faithless creature and has proved so in the past, as you well know.
May God preserve me from spiteful and jealous women.
I had reason for jealousy once. Or do you choose to forget that she was once carrying your child?
I would forget the sooner were you not so bent on constantly reminding me.
One reminder, sir, has romantical notions and a hobbledehoy skirt that disgraces the name of womanhood.
We were aboard the ship for a day and a night.
Exactly.
In the company of 20 seamen and 7 other passengers. And I can assure you that at all times, both Mrs. Fraser and myself behaved with the utmost circumspection.
You're sure it was naught but a coincidence?
Well, of course it was a... Although I wouldn't put it past James Onedin.
What?
Well, he and Albert Fraser would like nothing better than to cause a rift between you and I.
Mr. Onedin's away. And Mr. Fraser is too honourable a gentleman to risk his wife's reputation.
Then it was a coincidence. Are we agreed?
Sorry, Daniel. I know I'm green-eyed with jealousy, but I can't help it.
Poor Emma. Well, there's only one way you can save me from the wiles of designing women.
Daniel.
You must name the day.
I do wish you had consulted me earlier, Mrs. Onedin.
It was nothing, Doctor, just a stitch. Slight attack of stomach cramps.
Which you imagine to be one of the disorders to which your sex is subject,
Yes.
I will not hide it from you, Mrs. Onedin. This disorder is of a more serious nature and is directly connected with your recent miscarriage. And you know, your medical history over the past 4 years has been, well, not good.
Oh, that was nothing.
Pain, Mrs. Onedin, is part of God's mercy, and we ignore his warnings at our peril. You have a fine house, servants to do your bidding. You're more fortunate than most.
Yes, James is a good husband.
And an affectionate one.
We hold each other in very high regard, if that is your meaning.
That is not my meaning.
Oh.
I will speak plainly, Mrs. Onedin. Under no circumstances must you bear children.
I cannot have a child. Ever?
I did not say that. I said you must not.
My husband, he so longs for a son.
Out of the question. I'm sorry.
What can I say? How can I possibly tell him?
I can spare you that embarrassment. When Mr. Onedin gets back...
No! I shall tell him myself on his return.
Come aboard, Captain. Visiting ships is the only hospitality we have in this godforsaken port. You been to Zanzibar before, Captain?
No. This is my first experience.
I'll make it your last. Thank you.
I've known worse.
They're venal. Every last one of them venal.
I beg your pardon, Captain. There's a boat approaching.
That'll be his nibs.
His who?
Saeed bin Salim. Calls himself a sheik.
What do you call him?
A scoundrel, sir. A scoundrel.
Sheikh Saeed Ben Salim.
Salam, Captain Onedin.
Greetings, Your Excellency.
Captain Franks, it is a pleasure to meet you again.
It's a one-sided pleasure. When do I start discharging cargo?
Alas, Captain, the lighters are not yet free of their other
There'll be no more presents, no more backsheesh. Is that clear?
Such small offerings as you have made from the goodness of your heart have the blessings of Allah.
Not another dime. Now, you start your boys unloading my ships right now, or you're going to have my consul breathing down your neck. Sheik. Good day, Captain. Come. Pleasure.
The Americans are a forthright race, but they do have an unhappy tendency of exporting their virtues as well as their goods.
A wise man acknowledges the customs of a strange country. Well, Your Excellency, will you take a seat?
Thank you.
Can I offer you some refreshment?
I regret my religion forbids the taking of alcohol.
Well, man doesn't, but I never did take much to John Barleycorn. This climate, I prefer lemonade.
That I find most unusual, Captain. It is my experience that most Europeans drink not so much to satisfy their thirst, but to inflame their passions.
It is written that the fruit of the zacchum tree shall truly be the food of sinners. Like scalding water, it shall simmer in his belly.
You are a true believer, Captain?
Oh, no, I'm not of the faith.
It is also written, he that reveres the Koran shows the piety of his heart.
Well, I bought a bit more than piety. Have your finest Americano. 20 such rolls. As a gift for Your Excellency. Also for Your Excellency, a small gift smooths even the path of the righteous.
Most thoughtful, Captain. How many bales of Americani do you have for sale?
12,000 such rolls. 200 cases of muskets and ammunition, all at a fair price.
A fair price, Captain, is one that gives satisfaction to both parties. What is your first price?
Well, now, for how many rolls?
Oh, I beg your pardon. Mr. Onedin? Yes, that's right. Yeah. Mr. Robert Onedin? Yes, I am. My name is Mitchell, sir. My card. Oh, Mr. Mitchell, you're a tea merchant, then? Yes, but that is not the purpose of my business. I had hoped to have the privilege of meeting Mr. James Onedin. Oh, well, I'm afraid you've made a fruitless journey, sir. My brother is away. Yes, I understand. That's why I came to see you. Oh. Well, if I can be of any assistance, Yes, I'm a shareholder of the Onedin steamship line. Oh, well, sir, Mr. Mitchell, I am very pleased to make your acquaintance. Sorry. Yes, during my brother's absence, I am responsible for the business affairs of the company. A responsibility you share with Mr. Fraser and your chairman, Mr. Fogarty. That's quite right, yes, thank you. Oh, George. Do Onedin line directors normally conduct their business in the street, Mr. Onedin? I do ask your pardon, sir. Would you come this way, please?
This is my wife, Mr. Mitchell.
Oh, I do apologize for the disorder, Mr. Mitchell.
Oh, on the contrary, it's I should apologize for calling at such an inconvenient moment. I do understand, Mrs. Onedin, that business does not stand upon ceremony. Yes. Would you care for a glass of wine, sir? Oh, that's very kind of you. Excuse me. Thank you.
It is so inconvenient. You simply have nowhere to turn. Excuse me. Oh, Rachel.
So you're a shareholder, you said, then, Mr. Mitchell. Well, you've invested wisely, sir. I think not, sir. The company has as yet paid not 1 penny in dividends. Oh, well, it will, sir. It will. But not until the ship is launched. And if you'll forgive me saying so, Mr. Onedin, that seems to be taking an unconscionably long time. Your health, sir.
Yes, well, of course, Mr. Fraser is our designer, and I can assure you that I have the utmost confidence in him.
Yes, I have taken the liberty of calling upon Mr. Fraser and indeed upon Mr. Fogarty, but neither gentleman was at home. The matter therefore rests with you, Mr. Onedin.
Oh. What matter?
How unforgivably remiss of me. No, I wish to dispose of my shares.
Oh, well, then, if that is your wish, sir, far be it from me to, how many shares do you have on offer?
5,000.
5,000? Well, that's the 5% that James needs in order to regain control of the company.
Thank you, sir.
It's all right, Robert. I can manage.
So you have shares on offer, sir? And what price are you asking?
They're on offer to the highest bidder. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. and Mrs. Fraser?
Yes?
I've just come from Mr. Robert Onedin's premises. My name is Mitchell.
Highest bidder. It's outrageous.
Well, who can blame the man? He knows well enough that whoever gains control of those shares gains control of the company.
Well, we can't possibly afford to buy
Oh, it's
them.
out of the question. I mean, all these extensive repairs and alterations will take every penny of our capital. Oh, where is James? Why isn't he here?
That Fogarty will seize this opportunity with both hands, you mark my words. And James has nobody to blame but himself. Excuse me.
Find a way of foisting the blame onto me. You mark my words.
Well, what can you do? The price that Mr. Mitchell is asking is quite beyond our reach.
And even if we had the money, I mean, Fogarty would outbid us. Well, Sarah, there's only one thing for it.
What are you thinking of now?
Well, I'll have to send a cable to James. Tell him to come home straight away. And whatever happens, Mr. Mitchell must not find out that we don't have the money.
But he'll call again.
Of course he will. But we won't be here.
What?
We're taking a holiday. And we're taking it now.
I approached the other shareholders and persuaded them to sell to me.
And now you're offering them for £10,000.
When you paid only 2,500 for them.
Whoever controls those shares, madam, controls the company. In your husband's position, I would have thought the sum of £10,000 a remarkably small amount to pay in the furtherance of a lifetime's ambition.
I don't know what my partner's reaction to your offer would be, but in my opinion, the shares are not worth half that sum.
How much do you suppose they might be worth to, Mr. Fogarty?
Have you already approached him?
Oh, not yet.
But you intend to?
Obviously.
I must warn you, sir, that Mr. Fogarty is a man with a hasty temper. Should you have the temerity to approach him the way you've approached me, he may very well pitch you through the nearest window.
I shall simply have to take that risk.
A bid good day to you, sir.
Just a moment, Mr. Mitchell. It would appear, sir, that you're not particularly well informed. The struggle for control of the Onedin line is between James Onedin and Daniel Fogarty. Well, those two gentlemen hold the purse strings. So you've nothing to lose, and perhaps much to gain by awaiting James Onedin's return.
Thank you, Mrs. Fraser. Perhaps I might take your advice. Good day to you.
I cannot see what you hope to gain, beyond setting James and Fogarty at one another's throats.
James has yet to be bested in a bargain. He will wrest those shares from Mr. Mitchell by fair means or foul. that heat, it must ruin the complexion.
Listen,
What is it?
the steam hammer. It started on the keel.
Why, Mr. Fogarty?
You overstep your authority, Fraser. Ah, the great Panjandrum himself, hot foot from the yards, no doubt.
I understand that you've given instructions on behalf of the company
to lay at the keel of me steamship. The work's in progress.
On whose authorization?
My contract stipulates that I'm to design and build a steamship. The designs are completed.
But the specifications have yet to be agreed upon.
They have been agreed upon. Between myself and Mr. Robert Onedin.
Robert?
We're merely carrying out James's instructions.
Do you have these instructions in writing?
Robert has. I'd take it up with him if I were you. Come, Elizabeth.
Not so fast, Fraser.
You're disturbing the cut of my seat. If you would oblige me by removing your hand, I'll overlook your boorish behavior for once.
If you pair of louts must brawl, kindly do it in private. Albert, your arm, if you please.
It is a pleasure to transact business with one of such delicate understanding. Come.
Well, that'll require copal, hides, ivory.
It shall all be arranged. And in return, you shall perform for me one small service.
Oh?
A party of my countrymen wish to make the holy pilgrimage to Mecca.
Pilgrims? Board a British ship? Is not the harbour of Zanzibar full of dhows only too eager for such traffic?
A dhow will carry but a dozen, and the journey north to the port of Jeddah is long and arduous.
Well, I had hoped to go south, via the Cape, you know, and then on home.
Why not return by way of Suez?
A sailing ship through the Suez Canal? Oh, out of the question.
It is not unknown. A steam tug could tow your ship through the canal.
A steam tug? That'd blow a pretty hole in my profits.
It would considerably shorten your journey. It's a telegraph addressed to you. It has come by way of your consulate.
Excuse me. Buy, you dolt. Buy at once, whatever the cost. Your Excellency, I must return to Liverpool at once.
Then you must go by way of Suez. It seems Allah the Wise has resolved our problem.
Very well, I'll take your pilgrims. £4 a head.
Agreed.
Cash in advance.
What ails you, child? What really ails you?
I've told you.
So you have. But at times you can be as close-mouthed as that husband of yours. Where the devil is he?
On his way home, Robert sent him a telegraph.
I've little regard for the rogue, but I'd give a guinea at this moment to see him standing in that doorway.
Did he pass me my purse?
Here.
Good luck, money.
I've lost all taste for charity.
Oh, it's not charity. You know perfectly well that James and I were first married. He struck a bargain that you would not want in your old age. Well, he's kept to that bargain.
I'll grant him that. I've everything I need and nothing I want. I've become a well-dressed beggar with his hand eternally outstretched.
Would you prefer a settlement? Say, 2 guineas each and every week?
Well, he'd never agree to that.
It'll be arranged. In writing this time.
In writing? Why in writing?
For your own peace of mind, of course. Why else?
For yours, perhaps. You're dissembling, child.
Oh, take your guinea and go, Father. I know it must be burning a hole in your pocket.
That son-in-law of mine has kept to the letter of his bargain simply because you've always been here to see that he does. Is that your fear?
I don't know what you mean. Oh, my medicine. Can you pass my medicine? Is that little brown bottle?
Laudanum. Is the pain as bad as that, then?
Oh.
Oh, there, child. There.
The time for prayer approaches. Would you be kind enough to indicate the direction of Mecca, Captain? Thank you, Captain. Allah will reward you.
You might use your influence and ask for some wind.
The wind blows where and when Allah wills.
These pilgrims of yours, all Negroes.
All true believers are equal in the eyes of Allah.
Your true believers are going to have some difficulty directing their prayers, aren't they?
Directing?
Well, being enclosed as they are, how can they tell north from south or east from west?
They are instructed.
Saeed, if you've turned me into a slaver, your Allah had better be forgiving and merciful. I won't.
During these extensive alterations, we are taking a well-earned holiday, Captain Baines. So I will thank you to see that our luggage is safely stowed aboard the Charlotte Rhodes. Thank you.
Right, stand by to wear ship. Helm down, quartermaster. What's he doing? I'm taking advantage of the offshore wind.
But, Captain, the port of Jeddah lies in that direction.
Aye, but the wind is blowing in that direction.
But if we keep on this course, we cannot put into Jeddah.
Well, as Your Excellency so aptly put it, the wind blows whither Allah wills it.
Put into Jeddah, Captain. Take your profit and thank Allah for his beneficent mercy.
For once, I'm not concerned with profit.
It's easy to be noble when you've been paid in advance.
I shall put them ashore on the coast of Africa. Let them take their chance.
They will starve.
And you will give them money. Help pay their passage on.
I pay their passage?
Ah, why not? You brought them to this.
I will not give them money.
In that case, I shall put you ashore with them.
That chicken be going to waste, ma'am? A nice fat capon. As juicy a morsel as ever I tasted. The Isle of Man coming into sight, sir?
I've seen our friend, Mr. Mitchell. £10,000 he asked for them shares.
Precisely the sum he named to me.
Obviously, you had to refuse.
Oh, I'd have found the money.
But he wanted to try me, see if I'd offered him more.
And, did you?
No, he said he'd wait until James Onedin returns.
He intends to play you off against each other.
Well, I'm in no hurry. I've waited long enough for those shares. I can wait a few weeks more.
Here we are, then. Now, drink this down. It's best beef tea. I made it myself.
Oh, thank you, Elizabeth.
We'll have you on your feet and some colour in your cheeks by the time James is home.
I hope so. I hate being a burden.
Nonsense. Now, for the latest gossip. Emma Callan and Daniel Fogarty are to be married on October the 15th.
At last.
And we're all to be invited, so you'll have to be well for that.
Come in. Oh, show the lady in, please, Maggie.
Oh, Emma Callan. No doubt she's here to receive our congratulations.
Oh, Elizabeth.
My dear Mrs. Onedin, how are you?
Oh, thank you.
Daniel and I were so anxious when we heard of your illness.
Thank you for your concern, Miss Callum. I've every reason to believe the patient will recover.
Oh. Good morning, Mrs. Fraser. Good morning, Miss Callan. What a dazzling gown. Such bold stripes. Did you make it yourself? No, I had my dressmaker copy it from a London model. The style does require an elegant carriage, of course. Is there any news of Mr. Onedin?
Yes, he's on his way home from Zanzibar.
So you can tell Mr. Fogarty not to count his chickens. Indeed. But is that not a long voyage?
Oh, no. James is coming home by way of the Suez Canal.
Tugboats. I'll make a pretty profit out of the canal.
Off to see the sights, sir, ma'am?
Short walk to stretch our limbs, Mr. Beers.
It was a terrible journey. Terrible.
Well, Emma, what do you think of the Pandora?
She's quite beautiful.
I've had it completely refitted and re-rigged. She'll show a clean pair of heels to any ship out of Liverpool.
The Pandora. It's a pretty name.
Oh, more like a rich man's yacht than a working ship.
Such luxury. And who is to command this jewel of the seas?
Me.
You?
She's to set sail for the Mediterranean. How would you like to spend your honeymoon aboard her?
Oh, Daniel. Oh, that would be the most perfect beginning. And I accused you of being unromantic.
What cargo are you carrying, sir?
Part cargo Egyptian cotton.
If you just sign these papers, clearance won't take long. And the other form, if you will, sir. Just sign there, please, sir.
Now, what's all this about dizzy spells and fainting fits?
I've nothing more than a gout of the stomach.
Is that what the doctor said?
So many words.
What were his words?
Female complaint.
Well, what treatment did you recommend?
Time. Did you have a successful voyage, James?
Time? If that's the best he can do, we'll get a second opinion.
I have a patent medicine which I'm taking regularly, and he advised a rest.
That can be arranged. Here. How would you like to go to Harrigan? Take the waters, eh?
Take the... James, think of the cost.
I am. To pay a man for professional advice and then not take it, that's poor business.
I can rest just as easily at home. And I've a poor enough opinion of medicinal waters without wanting to sample them.
How do you know if you haven't
Tell
tried
me
it?
about the Suez Canal. They say it's one of the 8 wonders of the world. What's it really like?
Just a ditch, nothing more. Now, you tell me. What's all this about Onedin shares being on offer, eh?
It's true, James. A man named Mitchell holds the balance of 5,000 shares. He's only waiting for your return so that you and Fogarty can bid against each other.
Well, then the sooner the better. I'll arrange for the 3 of us to meet this afternoon.
I doubt Mr. Fogarty will be available.
No, why not?
I've just come from his wedding.
So, Fogarty now is Callan and Company.
With the wealth of that company in his hands. So how can you possibly hope to outbid him?
Emma, be reasonable. It won't take long.
You intend to take yourself off to a business meeting on my wedding day and you ask me to be reasonable.
Emma...
Mr. Mitchell's waited this long. Surely he can wait a little longer.
Not now James Onedin's here. Look, if I'm not there, he'll persuade Mr. Mitchell to sell him those shares.
I thought you said you could outbid him.
Well, I can't outbid him if I'm not there.
But it is my wedding day.
Emma, my love, I must be there, don't you see? Whoever gains control of those shares gains control of the Onedin line.
But,
An
darling...
hour. No longer, my love, I promise.
Mr. Mitchell, how did you acquire 5,000 shares?
Oh, piecemeal. I approached the other shareholders and bought them out. A few here, a few there.
Took quite a risk, didn't you?
Well, it was a sporting risk. Ah. Gentlemen, shall we commence the bidding?
You paid £2,500 for those shares. I would say a reasonable offer would be £4,000.
I had in mind a figure nearer 10,000.
You're a rogue, sir.
No, I wouldn't agree. Mr. Mitchell strikes me every inch a sportsman. He puts his money at risk and now he expects to reap the reward, eh?
Thank you, Mr. Onedin. You're a gentleman after my own heart. In return, let me make you a sporting gesture. I'm prepared to accept an opening bid of £5,000.
I'll make it 6.
Mr. Onedin?
Oh, no bid.
Come, sir, this won't do at all. Let me hear 7, sir. Mr. Onedin, you disappoint me. You do indeed. Oh, come, sir, make a match of it.
I'll make you a sporting gesture. Mr. Fogarty here imagines that he's a better ship's captain than myself.
I'll sail you any day of the week, Onedin.
No. Would you care to put that to the test?
At the moment this business is concluded, with pleasure.
You're in the tea business, I understand, Mr. Mitchell.
Yes, I am, but I don't see what that
China
is.
tea clippers sail very soon to collect the first of the season's new crop of tea. Now, if Mr. Fogarty here would like to substantiate his boast, I suggest that we sail with them and each bring back 500 tons of tea each for you, free of freight charges.
In return for my shareholdings? Good heavens, no, sir. Such a venture would yield me less than the amount already been offered by Mr. Fogarty.
Just a minute, I haven't finished. Now, that cargo would bring you a profit of, say, £5,000. Now, in addition, and here's your sportsmanship, you sell your holding at the original price of £5,000 to whichever one of us gets back to Liverpool first.
That'll give him a profit of £10,000.
Well, not the sportsman that I took you for, eh? I shall leave you with Mr. Fogarty's first offer of £6,000.
Just one moment, sir. A race.
One that you couldn't lose.
I like the notion. Mr. Fogarty, do you accept the challenge?
Those shares are as good as mine.
What are your chances?
Fogarty's got nothing to touch the Osborne.
Fogarty's got the Pandora ready to sail at a moment's notice. He's had her completely re-rigged. I should say that she is the fastest ship out of Liverpool.
Then I'd better start packing right away.
Packing?
Yes, James.
You're not recovered well enough yet, don't to take a long voyage.
Dr. Collister recommended a complete rest. I intend to take his advice.
She's recovered.
China fleet, Mr. Baines. Right. Bring around. Steer west-southwest. We'll head the pack.
Aye, aye, sir.
The race is on. Not the usual race for us, Anne. Much more at stake this time. Eh? We've well outstripped Fogarty by now.
Aye, you'll be at least 2 days astern of her, sir. He's a good sailor, is the Osmond, sir. We'll be first in Foochow, never fear.
Only half the race. The ship that first puts a line ashore at Liverpool's the winner.
You leave the sailing to me, sir. I'll give you my word, we'll be first home with the tea.
You'd better be right, Mr. Baines. The winner controls the Onedin Line Steamship Company. You comfortable?
Yes, thank you, James.
How long will it be now?
You've asked me that same question every day for the past month. I promise you, our son will be born in Liverpool.
I've 2 reasons now for a fast passage, eh? And, are you sure you're eating enough?
James, I never stop eating.
Well, those bouts of sickness you had before we left home,
I told
you know?
you at the time it was nothing more than a woman's ailment. Oh, don't look so worried.
The moment we reach Foochow, you shall have the best doctor available.
When will that be?
I'll show you. Yeah, no, you sit where you are. Here we are. Now, I reckon Fogarty's about 2 days astern of us. We should be in Foochow within about 48 hours. Then we'll be loaded and homeward bound before he can get his mooring lines out.
Oh, don't be overconfident, James. The tea crop may not be ready.
Oh, yes, it will. Our cable from Liverpool requesting our agent to hold 10,000 cases against our coming, whatever the cost. We shall win this race, Anne. And then Albert shall build not one, but a fleet of steamships. For our son to inherit, eh?
I reckon Onedin's got the legs of us.
Aye, but we'll show him a trick or two yet, Mr. Bunny. Now keep every stitch on, eh?
In 4 or 5 days, we shall be in Foochow.
The mate says James Onedin might be there in 2. He's outsmarted and outsailed you, and I can't imagine what you find so amusing in the situation. It is my money you're gambling with, remember?
Our money, dear.
Sometimes I think that's the only reason you married me.
Emma, stop being childish.
All right, what is it this time?
So gross.
Little Miss Precious mustn't be touched. Have you forgotten we're married?
I'm sorry, Daniel.
Aye, sorry for yourself.
Why shouldn't I be? What sort of a honeymoon is this, cooped up together in a ship's cabin?
What do you expect on your honeymoon? To bring all your friends along with us?
You...
£1 a ton?
I'm sure my principal will raise no objection.
And your principal is?
Mr. Mitchell.
Mr. Mitchell's reputation is quite well known with us. But he does seem in an extraordinary hurry to have his shipment this year. I know there is always a demand for the first of the new crops, but...
What?
Oh, cue yourself, Captain. Cable is from Liverpool. Price apparently no object. And we also have instructions from Callan and Company of Liverpool to load one of the crack tea clippers, seemingly rerouted from Yokohama, and keep her standing by.
Callan ship, did you say?
The Viper. She's worth just astern of you. Her captain has instructions that he's to change over with a Captain Fogarty of the Pandora the moment she arrives.
Devil eaters.
4 months at sea. And now you expect me simply to transfer from one ship to another without time to set foot on land. Really, it's monstrous.
So James Onedin's outsmarted me, has he? Well, we shall be sailing for Liverpool before he's even begun loading.
I might have known Fogarty to have some trick up his sleeve. A viper. His new clipper's rightly named.
And she's a flyer, sir. Fogarty will be out with the tide in the morning. That'll give him at least 2 days' lead.
I know of that. Well, you're the old China hand. What do we do?
Well, 2 things, sir. The barometer's dropping, and I heard the rumble of thunder in the northwest this morning. And some flashes of lightning in them mountains.
So?
I looked over the side. There was quite a quantity of yellow mud swirling around the river. Now, I think we're due for the burst of the monsoon. Can't be good, Jamaica. It keeps the fever off, sir.
Get on with it, Baines.
Now, if Mr. Fogarty sails before us in the monsoon, he'll need to navigate very cautiously, because this river's full of spits and sandbars. And he can't use his speed until he's clear, and that'll take him 12 hours at least.
That applies to both of us. So where's the advantage?
Well, in the old days, sir, we learned a trick. There used to be fleets of Chinese war junks lying in wait for us downriver. And when the monsoon breaks, the headwaters come roaring down in full spate. And when that river runs, it takes everything before it, including them treacherous sandbags. So what we used to do, we used to set our storm cameras only and hang on to our mooring lines. And when the wind came, chop through it and away we go.
Could work.
Before Fogarty knows it, we'll be snapping at his heels. Best of health to you, sir, and Mrs. Onedin, and the young'un-to-be.
Now, you suggested 2 things, Baines. What was the other one, eh?
Well, I had a close look at Mr. Fogarty's Viper, and I think he's made a mistake in choosing her for this race.
You do you?
Aye, she carries a pair of canvas, but she's broad in the beam. She's a heavy weather ship. And the roaring 40s, she'd snore along and leave us standing.
But on this passage, we're in for our share of fitful wind.
Aye. So we change our fore and main yards round. You see, that'll give us an extra 2 widths of canvas on the fore. And that's perfect for light winds. Once in the Indian Ocean, we change them back again.
All right, then. I'll take your advice. Rouse them out in the morning and put the work to hand. But we won't change back. We'll rig an extra main yard, an extra 6 feet either side.
But a sudden squall would take the sticks right out of us, sir.
Oh, it's a chance we'll have to take. I intend to win this race, come hell or high water. My son will be born in Liverpool.
I can't find anything seriously wrong. A light fever, perhaps, but I recommend Batley's sedative with a little opium as a sovereign remedy 3 times a day. Oh, my fee will be $5 for the consultation and $half for the specific. Oh, thank you kindly. I'll call every day until you sail.
That won't be necessary. We sail with the tide. Good day to you, Doctor.
Oh, good day.
Sail with the tide?
Now, no more tantrums, if you please. What? I've much work to do and no time to deal with fits of the vapors.
You couldn't be so cruel. I require rest and comfort, and I must go ashore. I will not stay another minute aboard this ship.
Yes, you will, Emma.
I'm going ashore.
That won't stop me.
You mean you'd sail without me?
I've no intentions of losing this race on the whims of a spoilt child.
I forbid you to sail.
You forbid nothing. I am Callan of Company. From now on, I make the decisions. We sail with the tide.
You still suffer from the pain, Mrs. Onedin?
A little.
More than a little, I fancy.
The child, will it be all right?
Oh, aye, you'll have a bonny bairn, no doubt about that. But it's no the baba we're concerned about now, is it?
Well, that is my sole concern.
Then it shouldn't be. All life is precious, including your own.
Is the risk then that great?
What can I say that your own medical man didn't tell you back in Liverpool? Your husband's a heartless fool.
He doesn't know.
You didn't tell him?
He longs for a son.
Did you think to give him a choice? You've a strong spirit and you've a fair chance. Once you're back in Liverpool, you have the benefit of the best medical attention. I hear they've got chloroform and antiseptics. Medicine's made great strides since my young day. Out here on the coast, a man loses touch. In the meantime, Here's a Chinese concoction. I highly recommend it whenever you feel the pain.
Oh, it
No,
won't.
no, it won't harm the baby one little whit. Take it as required. Well, good day to you, Mrs. Onedin.
Thank you, Doctor.
And remember, from this day forward, it's your health that matters. Your health, nothing else. Tell your husband that.
Well, there she goes, Mr. Baines.
Aye, I'm carrying cotton sails.
What?
It was the mate's idea. I had a drink with him last night. He's a flying fish sailor. A fair weather man. That's the monsoon on its way.
So oppressive. We move so slowly.
It's the river. Requires careful navigation. But tomorrow we'll be in the open sea. And we're sure needing a clean pair of eels.
I've done my best for you, Mr. Onedin. We've cut the normal loading time by almost half a day.
Well, I'm very grateful to you, Mr. Chan, but we still have to wait for the tide. Fogarty's still 2 days ahead of us.
Aye, sir. But the monsoon's just about to burst.
The no name, indeed. When did you charter her?
A few months ago. She was chartered for the Frasers with our money. Didn't cost you or your brother a penny piece.
It must have cost you a pretty penny, though. I mean, chugging up and down the Mersey without so much as a ha'porth of the cargo.
I didn't intend to use her to carry cargo. She's used solely for experimental purposes.
What, for the Golden Nugget, you mean?
Well, what else? It was a question of a suitable steering engine, for example, higher boiler pressures.
But how do you intend to recover your costs? A ship that goes without cargo eats money.
It's my loss, no one else's. I'm not accountable to the Onedins for my personal expenditure.
And more fool you. Take my advice, Albert. Get rid of the no-name.
Oh, get rid of her?
Immediately.
But I've only...
Transfer her to the Onedin Steamship Company. Well, don't you see? Let the company make her pay her way. Yes, we'll ship out slate from North Wales, coal across to Ireland, yes. And you can carry out your experiments at the same time.
You seem uncommonly considerate in the interest, Robbie.
And we'll carry a few passengers and all. Liverpool, Holyhead, Cork. There's a growing trade in passengers, you know.
Oh, I see. With food and stores supplied by Robert Onedin, Chandler.
Why not? Shipping is our business. I'll get the necessary documents drawn up straight away.
Brother Robert's becoming quite the shrewd businessman.
Albert, have you forgotten?
What?
We're to pay your mother a visit.
Oh, no, my love, it's out of the question. Oh, well, Robert's held me up as it is.
But we promised her faithfully.
Look, I must clear this work. You go ahead, take the carriage, and I'll join you there later.
It's a fine evening. I'll walk.
Now, one word, and over you go.
Jessup!
You're James Onedin's sister. Will I not be taken? Not again, not again.
Quickly, come with me.
You have what?
You remember remember Jessup.
Indeed I do. The leader of that confounded seaman's strike. And you have the temerity to bring such a man into my house.
Our house, Albert. And I have him hidden in our stables.
Are you aware of the penalties for aiding and abetting an escaped convict?
He should never have gone to prison in the first place. Even James saw some justice in their seaman's strike.
James saw profit for himself.
Jessup's wife died in penury and his children are in the poorhouse.
You should have thought of wife and family first.
That's not an argument likely to appeal to a desperate man.
It's impossible for him to stay here.
I know you'll think of something.
He's a sailing shipman.
But the docks will be watched.
And he'll have no papers. He'll require a new identity and a new profession. It is possible. For your sake, not his.
I knew you'd think of something.
Oh, you will ring for tea, while I'll arrange to ship the fellow across to Ireland.
Thank you, Albert.
But he will work, mark you.
Jessup? And you have the effrontery to sit there and tell me to my face that you're harbouring a criminal?
I trust you and Robert can keep still tongues in your heads for once.
My husband is far too much the gentleman ever to voice his opinion of his sister's criminal escapades.
Good. I suggest you follow his example then, Sarah.
And why should I?
If you do not consider it to be your wifely duty to conform to your husband's wishes, then I suggest you give heed to the old adage, mud sticks.
It will not brush off on us.
If any information be laid, you may be sure that it will, Sarah.
Elizabeth, you would embroil us all.
Right, I'm finished. Come along then, Sarah. The no-name must steam up and ready to go.
That silly girl.
What?
Jessup. She expects us all to keep silent.
Jessup sails a stoker on the no-name, and there's an end to it. Come on.
We are now 21 days' sail from Full Chow and as yet no sight of Mr. Fogarty's Viper. The air is somewhat oppressive and the wind light and fitful. As these light winds suit us the better, James has great hopes of overhauling the Viper.
Sail! Ho!
It's her. It's the Viper she's become.
Right, Mr. Bates.
Yep. Everything all right? Yep. Are you lazy, good for nothing?
Come on, duty, Jack.
Aye.
Right, Captain. You'll get far enough shortly.
We need all you can give us.
Right. We're crossing the bar against a flat tide and the wind's picking up. Ship hasn't enough way in it to clear the Burberg banks. Stuffy, isn't he? No wonder the fire won't draw. Damn fools left the ventilator closed. Open the firebox ventilator, will you, Jessup?
Aye, sir.
That blasted bear in again. Bear a hand here, will you, Jessup?
Sure. Check the pressure.
My God, the boiler will burst! Jessup, open that valve quickly, man! Down that valve! Down, you down! Get out of this, Jessup!
Don't touch it, don't touch it.
Captain! Captain!
Aye, sir.
Turn back to Liverpool!
Wind shifting. We're in for a blow, sir. Cotton sails. I knew them cotton rags would know. We best shorten sail and walk past her easy, sir.
Keep her as she is.
You'll be represented by the best tubman money can buy. Doctor and my lawyer will be calling at the Bridewell within the hour.
Thank you, sir. And you, good lady.
carried away. Oh, too. What a snag.
Your face.
You lie still now. Set a couple hands down. It's all the dodge. Almost go on deck. I'm required.
Yes, James. I understand.
Child?
It'll be all right.
Turn off the lamp, Emma, my love.
When we're winning, it's Emma, my love. When we're losing, it's Emma, fetch and carry.
Well, we've just picked up the trade wind, so for the next few weeks, it's all going to be plain sailing and Emma, my love.
Did you love Elizabeth?
At the time, yes.
But not anymore.
Not anymore.
Do you love me?
Of course.
Well, then love is not constant. It changes.
It can be constant, it can change. There's no certainty. It must depend upon mutual affection and esteem and trust, Emma. There must be trust.
The day we were married, I entrusted to you not only myself, but my entire fortune. Would you have done the same?
Without hesitation.
Then prove it.
How?
Give up this foolish race now for me.
All that would do is prove you'd married a fool.
Win or lose, you'd still own Callan and Company. You stake no more than ambition on the outcome.
If James Onedin should win this race, within a few years there would not be any Callan and Company. That is why we have to win this race, Emma.
I was speaking of love, Daniel.
Come in. Sergeant Cape Verde's ahead, sir.
All right. Well, now, by my reckoning, the Viper's about 2 days ahead of us. Now, if I know Fogarty will give himself plenty of sea room, he'll be mid-Atlantic now to catch the westerners. So we'll keep to the east, straight for the Azores, eh?
He hasn't been light and fitful, sir.
Ah, well, we're to catch the Viper. Just cut a few corners.
Aye, sir.
Lay off the course, Mr. Baines.
Keeping in good health, ma'am?
Oh, under the circumstances, exceedingly well, thank you, Mr. Baines. How long before we arrive?
About 3 weeks, given fair weather.
That is cutting it fine.
Many a lusty lad has been born aboard ship, ma'am.
My son will be born in Liverpool, Mr. Baines. I've set my mind on it.
In that case, I have no doubt, ma'am.
You will stand by Mr. Onedin, whatever happens, won't you, Mr. Baines?
Well, of course, ma'am. Mr. Onedin can outsail Mr. Fogarty and a dozen of his like any day of the week.
I'm sure, but there may come a time when he stands in need of staunch friends.
Mr. Onedin can always rely on me, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Baines.
that will do. Not taking part in a joinery competition. Mr. Baines, that wheel ship, will you?
Aye, sir.
Ship the wheel.
Sail ho!
Sir, it's the Viper. We've caught her. Mr. Baines, we've caught her. Right, Mr. Baines, stand by to come about.
Stand by to come about!
Normally. Mainsail haul.
Mainsail haul!
We're entering the Mersey on the flood. A few more minutes and we'll hoist the pilot's flag. Then the race will be ours.
Oh! Oh, James.
John.
Not yet. Please, not yet. Hurry, James. Hurry.
You need the doctor now.
Mr. Baines!
At least there's something I can do about that. Mr. Baines, don't hoist the pilot flag. Don't take the sail out.
Sir,
No, James.
We'll not wait to pick up the pilot. Sail her in yourself.
we must pick up the pilot, sir. Harbour regulations. Fogarty will claim the race.
Baines, sail her into port.
Aye, aye, sir.
James, the race was yours.
I'll not lose you or the child.
He's not stopping to pick up the pilot. Onedin's outsmarted himself this time. I shall win the race by default.
Pilot boat alongside, Captain.
Aye, bosun. We've won, Emma. We've won!
Just go and wait for Mr. Mitchell. No, James, there's nothing you can do. Please, James.
both have copies of our agreement?
Yes, Mr. Mitchell.
I'm sure the terms are more than familiar. In essence, the winner to receive from me the balance of Onedin Line steamship shares at the agreed price of £5,000.
I claim the race.
But I understood Mr. Onedin's ship was the first to dock.
Oh, well, only by the exercise of his usual sharp practice, he didn't stop to pick up the pilot, thus infringing harbour regulations. I claim the race by default.
I see. Is this true, Mr. Onedin? Did you dock without a pilot?
I had no choice. My wife was in labour.
So the shares are mine.
We're prepared to abandon a race already won, sir.
It was not already won. If I hadn't stopped to pick up the pilot, I could have outsailed him right up the Mersey.
You couldn't outsail a herring boat. Fuck it.
The first ship to put a line ashore. Well, there's nothing in this document concerning pilotage.
Well, there is nothing in this document concerning wives being in labour.
If Mr. Onedin wishes to incur the wrath of the harbour authorities, that's entirely his own affair. I'm a sporting man myself, and I admire a man prepared to hazard all, whatever the reason.
What? It's implicit that we must comply with harbour regulations.
I'm sorry, I judge Mr. Onedin to be the winner.
Damn you, Onedin.
Congratulations, sir, on gaining the control of your company.
You must leave now, sir.
It's my daughter, you see.
And soon you'll have a lovely grandchild. Come on. Out with you, sir.
I'm afraid it will be a difficult birth, Mrs. Onedin.
Yes, Doctor. You did warn me.
You understand what we must do?
I'm prepared.
Very well. I can promise you one thing. It will be quite painless.
Chloroform? It won't hurt the baby?
No, no, of course not. Trust us, Mrs. Onedin. Don't struggle against it. Breathe in slowly and deeply. Slowly and deeply.
James.
Slowly. Quickly now.
James, you're a father.
James, congratulations.
Congratulations. Oh, James.
Not yet, James.
You must allow them a few minutes, James.
Oh, yes, of course.
Good health. Good health. You'll come upstairs now.
I'm sorry. I did warn her. As God is my witness, less than a 12-month ago in this very room, I told her, no children.
Please go.
You have a daughter. It's a lovely little girl.
You kept your bargain.